Hello, how's everyone doing today? I'm here with special guest, Objectivist girl. How are you doing?
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing very well.
I'm glad. So, your record is coming out soon, I hear. Wanna?
Oh, hopefully, if it gets funded, then it'll come out soon. But it all depends on funding.
Do you have any funders yet, or no?
Yes, we've gotten a few donations, quite a few in Bitcoin. I'm getting close to 100, so it's small, but people seem to be supporting it. It's good.
That's good. Yeah, because it was supposed to come out with the third version of Atlas Shrugged, right?
Yes, it was, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case.
Right. Have you seen any of the movies?
Actually, I've seen every single one of them. I got to see an early showing of Atlas Shrugged Part 3.
Yeah.
So the Atlas Summit hosted it, and so since I was helping host the Atlas Summit, I got to see the movie, which was super awesome.
Cool. It sucked, right?
No, no, it really didn't. Actually, I thought the third one was the best one.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw the first, but it was very overacted, I thought. But
Yeah, I haven't liked. I thought the second one was the worst. The first one was just. I didn't even. There was no storyline.
mhm.
It was a woman running a train, and I mean that's all well and good, but I mean it's supposed to be a philosophy movie. But I think they delved deeper into the philosophy in this movie, and I was very happy with them.
All right. Yeah. Well, maybe the train symbolized something philosophical.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, the third one's very philosophical. I was really, really impressed.
all right. I didn't actually see that one, but maybe I'll give it a chance.
Oh,
Um,
it's not out just yet, so.
I know, I know. Um, anyway, so what do you think about what's happening? You know, the whole Michael Brown Ferguson thing.
So my take on the Ferguson thing is that it's really sad that it had to come to this, but I guess at least people are waking up now to the fact that cops are, killing people
Hmm.
and harming people and just treating them with complete indecency. Um, it's really sad that someone else had to die from this. It's sad that it had to be someone so young. And, well, I mean, any age it's sad to die, but, I mean, they were in the prime of their life. Michael was in the prime of his life. And so it's very sad that this is happening around the world. We're seeing more police corruption, but I think the fact that we're seeing it is a good thing. Because I think it was happening, but we weren't seeing it, and now it's blowing out everywhere from every outlet, and I just think that that and animal abuse seem to be the things that are running through my feed right now. I don't know what your feed looks like.
Animal abuse? I'm not really sure with that. I haven't heard anything about that, but
Oh yeah, there's tons of videos running through my feed about, people taking dogs and leashing them up and then pushing cats towards them so that they'll like kill the cat. And then there's, humans kicking dogs and torturing, you know, I don't know, caterpillar, no, what was it, magpies or something? And, it's very sad when human beings feel like in order to feel powerful and important, they have to exert their physical force on an innocent animal. And I understand. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I hunt. I enjoy hunting as a sport. But that's the thing is that I don't torture animals. There's a difference between killing and torturing. You just don't torture. It is really evil. It is a fate worse than death.
hmm yeah, yeah. Anyway, I guess to get back to the what's happening first, it's these things sort of piss me off. I mean, whenever cops kill, people that unless it's like a murder or something, I sort of get pissed. But when they kill a bad guy, I also get pissed because then people think, oh, cops are doing a good job. So either way, I'm going to be upset. But what's sort of upsetting about this isn't new, and cops kill people every day. But it's sort of like, if a few people criticize one cop killing some guy, we'll make a big deal, and maybe the president will talk about it and say, oh, that guy could have been my son or some other bullshit, and all the other victims who get killed, they're sort of ignored and forgotten about. Like why do people choose maybe just, I'm going to focus on this person being killed by cops and forget the thousands of others?
Agreed. I agree. This has been going on for a while. This is not a new thing. I'm glad that people are waking up to it, but people need to understand this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a long time. Cops have been hurting people for centuries now, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it, and it's just like animal abuse. It's forcing your will onto an innocent person, and it's exactly like animal abuse because they put us in cages on top of it, like we're animals. And I take offense to being treated like an animal. I am a cognizant, thinking, and intelligent human being. I would like to be treated as such. And if you're not going to treat me as such, do not interact with me. Mm-hmm. And that is how I feel about it. Because I feel that this is absolutely appalling, and I think treating human beings in this way is unacceptable for anyone. It does not matter whether you wear a shiny badge or a nice hat. I don't care what you're wearing. You can't abuse human beings with thinking minds. You shouldn't even abuse animals, but you certainly shouldn't abuse humans.
Yeah. Yeah, well, me and my cynicism, I think sort of a lot of people do follow the leader, and they're told, that these things are horrible, and I don't know how much it's really concern that police are being abusive, as more of there are a few people criticizing what's going on, and for social reasons or feelings of self-importance, they latch on and they say, we're going to rebel against this, and then a week later we'll forget it and things will continue as they used to, because people are just going to let themselves be pushed around, and this is just a way to say, look, at least I fought for justice because I was holding up a sign or something.
I'm not sure. I feel like people are really honestly, genuinely mad this time. But the thing is that I don't think they're going to stay mad. I think that they're limiting this issue in their minds to this one instance. And I don't think that they're recognizing that there is other things going on. Now, personally, I think there's something that we can do about that. I think what we need to be doing is sending activists out to these Ferguson protests, and we need to be having our activists educating them on other events that are happening. In fact, what would be good is to go to these Ferguson protests and hold up signs for other individuals that have been harmed. Even just recently. I know that there's been several recently. And so I believe California is having issues at the moment. So I think something came out of Costa. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but Costa something. And they had a camera on someone that was being beaten up on the side of the highway. So, I mean, we could go out and hold up signs for those people at a Ferguson protest, and then when people ask us about, our sign, we can educate them on the fact that there are other things going on. There are other people being harmed. And it's not just, shooting a young man. It's more than that. I mean, no one should be shot. No one should be beaten with a club. Nobody should be maced. It's just inappropriate. And most of the times, these individuals aren't doing anything. They're not doing anything wrong, other than, making their own decisions about their lives.
Right. Right. I mean, what's interesting about this is that this particular guy actually did do something wrong. Not to be shot 6 times. He stole something from a bodega, which is wrong. Doesn't warrant the death penalty. But it's not like he's a purely innocent, like the guy who was accused of selling untaxed cigarettes and was choked to death. I mean, to me, that guy's way more innocent, and I find it interesting that people weren't making such a big deal about that, or about that guy. This was a while ago, who defecated in his cell, and the police, to punish him, locked him in a shower at 160 degrees for an hour, and his skin, he died by just having, being burned alive. It's sick. So, this is probably like the least police abuse of the police abuse. That's how bad they are.
Yeah, this is, that's the thing, is that, actually what you said, it reminds me of an episode of Star Trek where they land on this planet, and the penalty for breaking any rule, doesn't matter what it is, like stepping on the grass, is death. And so this reminds me of that, this conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what we're moving towards as a society. I mean, people need to be aware of that. That is what is going on. Now, if you break any of the rules, they can shoot you. And that's becoming more and more acceptable as we don't stand up for things. And people think that going out and protesting the Ferguson shooting is going to change the way things are, and it's not. The police are getting away with many things as we speak. That they are breaking rules somewhere in the world as we speak. In fact, I'd love to get the statistics on how often, I mean, they've got how often women have an abortion, or, but they don't have any statistics on how often the cops break rules. Mm-hmm. So, I'd love to see some statistics on, how many seconds go by without a cop breaking a rule. And that's the other thing, is that I've noticed in the videos that I've been watching, the behavior of cops has gone from just a level of pretend concern to just total disregard for any facade of concern for the law. I mean, they don't even cite laws anymore. They just say, this is the law, and you ask them for the citation of what law, and they just say, I just told you what the law is.
Right.
And they can't even cite what they're protecting anymore. That's the worst part about this whole thing, is that's why I teach objectivism. Because these people don't even know the rules that they are trying to affect and initiate and protect and enforce. And they don't even know what the rules are. And that's just it, is how can you be someone that protects the public with rules, even though, I mean, we don't even get me started on the fact that, law doesn't work. But, I mean, enforcing rules does not work. It just doesn't deter crime at all. But the point is that these cops don't even know what the rules are. And it's, we just let them run around with their shiny badges. And you just have complete disregard for their job or what they've sworn to do, protect and serve. There's no protecting and serving anymore. They don't even know what that means.
Well, they are, just not us. They're protecting and serving the establishment, the empire.
Yeah, they need a lot of protecting.
Yeah. But no, it is upsetting. I mean, Look, they give a test to cops, and if you get a high score, you don't become a cop, which obviously makes sense because it takes brains to not use violence. Any idiot can use violence. You still have a bigger gun. You just have to have bigger fists. People are always governed by their inferiors, in my opinion. Certainly inferior in terms of the intellect. These are just thugs. These are just bullies.
Oh, I don't think I've ever met a cop that could truly understand. I mean, I'm sure there is one out there, or maybe a few, but I've never met a cop that I truly believe can understand objectivism.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of them just, I'm not really a big fan of trying to enter people's head, but I'll do it now. What the hell? I think a lot of them do it because, well, partially it's an ego thing. People like bossing other people around, and this is just dressed in trying to uphold the law. I've always hated the expression, well, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. What the fuck does that mean? Doesn't it matter what the crime is? Doesn't it matter what the punishment is? If it's against the law to wear green and a person gets shot, are you really going to say, well, he did break the law? What the fuck is mad with you? You just have no conscience. You're basically saying, I'm going to let the government act as my conscience and brain for me. And whatever they say is against the law is fine. Whatever the punishment to carry it out is fine. And I'm not going to think for myself what is right and wrong. I have no brain.
The problem is that the problem is they don't even question what the law is in the first place. They just accept this is the law, and we have to obey it. And they never ask why. They never ask the reasoning behind the law. They don't even know the history behind the law. Ask most people how it is that African Americans won the right to vote. Ask them. I bet you only maybe 1 in 10 can tell you how that process went about legislatively. Mm-hmm. From a legal standpoint. They have no idea. They have no idea. And that's so sad. Because, my entire expression is knowledge is not for all men, but for those who seek it, so keep seeking. And that's the thing, is that I don't think anybody is seeking knowledge. And there is select few. My fans are awesome people and genius. They actually question things and think. And I'm just very proud of them. And I really think they deserve a huge pat on the back. And I think, people that are libertarian really just deserve a huge pat on the back, because you can't be dumb and be a libertarian. It just doesn't work very well, because you have to have some level of intelligence to have gotten to this line of reasoning. And so it amazes and surprises me the justifications that people have for certain things, like that is the law, or that's just the way it is, or that's what my parents told me, or any other line of logic other than this is objective reality, and based on objective reality, I'm going to go ahead and make guidelines for my life based on objective reality. And people don't think that they're capable of doing that by themselves. And it makes me really sad. I fear for this generation. I fear for the next one. I fear for the one that we will be raising. I'm terrified. Terrified.
Yeah, it's sick. Well, I do disagree that you have to be intelligent to be a libertarian. I think it depends why. If you're raised by libertarian parents and they taught you to be a libertarian, then you're just habitual copying what your parents tell you. So I don't think you necessarily have to be. I don't think there's any philosophy where you have to be intelligent to grasp, personally.
Are there any generations older than us that have any libertarians? I don't think I've ever met it.
Look, there are people who are in their 70s and in their 50s who are libertarians. Maybe their kids are libertarians as well, and their kids are libertarians just because that's what their parents taught them. So, I don't know if you have to be intelligent. Do you have to be intelligent to be an atheist. Not if you're raised by atheists. So no, I don't. I disagree that you have to be intelligent to be a libertarian. Plus, we're libertarians, so we're biased. But in all honesty, I don't think you have to be intelligent to have any philosophy of any kind. I think it's how you come to the philosophy more than what your philosophy is, personally.
I guess I'm having one of those days where I'm just really frustrated because the more that I spend time around people like Josie Wales or Jordan Page, which I got to spend the weekend with both of them, the more I'm around those people, the more ready I am for change. The more that I see, the more that I meet people that really truly deserve to be free and can make great decisions for their own lives and don't need anybody but themselves, the more frustrated I become with the society holding them back. It's like my song, the society is holding me back, and I'll hold my ground. And it's I've gotten to the point where I think my life anthem is becoming Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. I guess I'm just having an off day, but it's really just, it's like, is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is anybody at home? I have become comfortably numb. It's just, I'm so glad I live in New Hampshire.
It's better than waiting for the worms.
Because I don't think I'd ever believe that there were people out there that thought the way I did if I hadn't moved to New Hampshire. Because I can't imagine how other people that don't live in New Hampshire feel. It would be awful. I could never move away from here.
As someone who doesn't live in New Hampshire, it doesn't feel so great. But no, I agree. That's often how it is. It's that the masses are asses, right? And I don't know. It's hard because a lot of people are victims of the propaganda and lies. But I think it's also very hard to be sympathetic to a lot of people who seem to support government oppression. Like, there's a part of me that's like, I don't really want you to be free. Like, the people I really care about wanting to be free are the people who are upset about the intrusions of their liberty. But the people who are willing to just go with the crowd, I sort of feel like you get what you deserve. I don't know. How do you feel?
I feel like we're really negative right now. I'm not a very negative person. This is unusual. This behavior is unusual for me. I'm normally a very positive person. I'm normally smiling all the time. I had a great weekend. It's really just that after this weekend, I'm just so freaking ready to be free. Like, I'm so ready to be free. It's just so. It's just, like I said, if I didn't live in New Hampshire, I'm not sure I'd ever get out of this funk. But, I do want to make a quick pitch, because it's been a long time since I've motivated people to move the Free State Project. But you guys should really move, because honestly, like, my life is so much better here than it has ever been anywhere else. Everything I ever wanted to do with my life, I'm doing now. I'm running a YouTube channel, I'm teaching Objectivism, I'm writing music, I'm performing and opening up for Jordan Page, I'm working at the Atlas Society as their intern, I get to do Objectivism 24/7, and I actually make a living doing it. And I get to do side projects and travel and hang out with cool people. And that's the thing, is that, none of this would have happened if I hadn't moved to the Free State Project. The Free State Project makes your dreams come true, really gives you the ability to make your dreams come true easier than anywhere else. And it just provides you with a space where you are constantly learning. The people here are so smart. It's incredible. I mean, the things that I learn on a daily basis. I literally, before this chat, I was sitting around with my friend Nick talking about the Tao Te Ching. I mean, that is the conversation we were having, is we were talking about how to better understand the Tao Te Ching and comparing notes. I mean, that's the level of conversation that you get when you move to New Hampshire. And you're just not going to find that anywhere else. Just not.
It's similar to sort of how it is where I am, you know, which is, what do you think about the Knicks? No, but yeah. Yeah. So that's good. Where were you before living?
I was in Ohio. I mean, it's quiet and it's really safe, but it's not as safe as New Hampshire. I mean, I'm not going to say Ohio's a bad state. It's a decent state. At least it's conservative, but
I don't even know.
Conservative's not enough. I mean, pro-business is not enough. What?
I don't know what that means anymore. Republicans are sellouts. They have no values. They don't want to make waves. I mean, you know, does anyone believe this limited government crap that they spew? They don't believe in it. Oh, they're first of all, you can't be war hungry and
is anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is anybody at home?
I mean, I hear a lot of Republicans talk about, you know, freedom and personal responsibility. Really? Then why do you support the war on drugs? Why do you like to inflict your Christian theology down other people's throat? So you're just a bunch of hypocrites. You're just as statist as the rest of them. I don't really think there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans. It's Coke and Pepsi.
You know, I will say, I mean, I don't like politics. I hate every moment that I'm involved in it. I don't think, but as somebody that believes in peaceful revolution and the revolution of the mind, I have to agree that we have to go through minarchy in order to get to anarchy. So unless you're in the Chris Cantwell camp, you have to understand that the only real way that we can get to anarchy is through politics. It's very frustrating. But the thing is that politics and education, and we're taking care of the education part. And you know, I think that people like Ron Paul make differences and make waves and change things. I truly believe that. But the thing is that what was my point? I don't like politics. I don't enjoy it. But the thing is that I don't think the Republicans are as bad as you're saying they are. I'd go with the Republicans before I'd go with the Democrats very easily. And you know what? I'd probably go with the Republicans before I go with the Libertarians. Because Libertarians don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, I love independent little L libertarians. But the Libertarian Party itself does not know what it's doing. And it's never going to get there. It's just, you know, the little engine that just can't. So I worked with the Libertarian Party for a long time. I did communications for them. It was very disorganized. It's very frustrating. They work really hard, and they're really good people. And they're just, but that's the problem. That's it right there. They're good people. And the good people just don't make it into office. They don't. And the other thing is that I was going to continue with the Republican line of logic. So I don't think the Republicans are nearly as bad as Democrats. So the Democrats just are basically communists at this point. They don't even really believe in social freedom either. But at least the Republicans I'm seeing, at least in New Hampshire, the Republicans are more liberty-leaning. They're almost turning into the Libertarian Party. And you know, the other thing is that I don't find many Republicans that really, really, really care about religion anymore. I mean, most of them have just completely... I mean, Rick Santorum didn't even stand a chance, and God, that guy pushed religion like crazy. but he didn't even stand a chance in the primary. And so I really see the Republican Party actually changing its whole stance on things. At least here in New Hampshire, but I think really around the world.
I mean, I don't think so. Look, I'm certainly a fan of Minarchus, and I wouldn't consider Ron Paul a Republican. I mean, if that's your barometer, you know, he's a libertarian.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I mean, I think a lot of Lindsey Graham, who you know, who is a piece of shit, and that's insulting shit by calling him that. You know, and supports the NDAA and no free speech and all these other things because we're living in wartime. And, of course, bad enough we have to blow people up and kill people. We have to take people's freedoms away because it's war. And he won again. And so, you know, if a lot of the NDAA, I mean, what? There were like 9 Republican senators who voted against the NDAA. War on drugs, that's a Republican thing. The police state, that's a Republican thing. And so, you know, when I'm debating warfare and the police state versus the welfare state, you know, yeah, I'm not a fan of either, but and I hate even defending Democrats here. A lot of them don't say we want to throw you in jail without a trial. A lot of them aren't apologists, like Bill O'Reilly criticizing cop locks, saying how they're just annoying policemen by making their jobs more difficult. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the rhetoric of the Republican Party is freedom, but it's not their actions.
I mean, what did you think of Romney, though? I mean, what did you dislike about Romney?
Well, he was an empty suit. He told people what they wanted to hear. He had no principles. He didn't have any philosophy. It's I want to be president. What can I say that I think will get me votes?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure that there were quite a few things that Romney and I disagreed on, but the way I remember that entire election was he was someone who was hated because he made proper investments in proper companies and was able to get around, you know, the large taxes, and was able to make a lot of money and get really wealthy because of the fact that he understood the system and the way to get around it. And I actually kind of respect him for that, you know, because he could figure it out. I mean, I don't necessarily like the guy. I don't really like any politician. There are things about Ron Paul that drive me nuts. But, you know, it's really just the fact that there's certain things that I do respect about people. And I think Romney understood how big the tax burden was on our economy and how bad it was for business. And I think that he honestly could have made a positive change in that respect. Would he have done some things that in office that would have sucked? I'd be willing to bet a large sum of money on it. But to make our businesses more free and to lower taxes on businesses, I'd put up with whatever negative ramifications he had for us in the social realm. And that's always, I mean, I don't really want to have to give up either social freedom or political freedom. I want to be very clear about that right now. I don't think I should have to give up either in any shape or form. But if I'm going to give up one, I'm going to give up social freedom before economic freedom. I mean, what about you? Do you lean more towards economic or social freedom?
I mean,
if you had to pick.
Do you want me to chop off your hand or your foot? I mean, that's sort of what you're asking.
Don't be so melodramatic. You're so melodramatic.
That's sort of what you're asking me. I mean, I both are very, very important. Yes, I want to keep the fruits of my labor, but I also don't want to be told how to live my life. And what, you know, I'm allowed to wear or what I can put in my body. So both, I think, are very, very important. I mean, I think one thing about economic freedom that is good is government is evil, and I don't want it to have more money. So, the less revenue that the government gets, the better. I sort of agree with Walter Block, who said, there are people who say that we should legalize drugs so we can tax it. But I think we should legalize drugs in spite of the fact that we can tax it. Because obviously we don't want government to tax it, because then we'll just have more revenue to do bad things.
Well, I've always been pro-decrim and less legalization. I just, yeah, legalization is great in some respects, but I find that decrim is actually preferable, honestly. There's no taxation on it. It's a small fine. That sucks. Now, if we could get rid of the small fine, decrim would be ideal. Now, if it would just, but then again, I don't know what the penalty would be. I mean, if it's decrimmed, then, other than a fine, what would they penalize us with? That would be the big question. But I guess really the only real route is legalization at this point, because other states have legalized it. It's inevitable. That's the thing, is that I'm pro economic freedom over social freedom. I love all freedom and want to be completely free. But I'm going to pick economic freedom over social freedom because of the fact that I think that if we have true economic freedom, social freedom is inevitable. Because of the fact that in order to have social freedom, most social freedoms come from an industry. And more industries are going to want to open up for, pot or abortion or anything else that you can think of in the realm of social freedom. Normally needs an industry. And so you're going to see businesses that want to open up with these illegal social freedoms as their industry. You're going to see them want to open up, and they're going to have more money to be able to push that agenda through the public, like, public service announcements, commercials, education, studies, all those other things. And I think it really is inevitable to get social freedom if you have economic freedom. Now, I don't think it's the other way around, though. I don't think that if you have social freedom, you're going to get economic freedom. I just don't see it. Look at the Netherlands. They've had legal pot for a while, and they're not really very economically free at all. And then there's I think the Netherlands are some of the freest social areas in the world, but I could be wrong about that. But I just don't see any socially free countries being really that economically free. They're just, normally they don't, unless they're economically free first, then they fall into this. I think it's inevitable. I think that's the way that it works. I could be wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, you make a good point. I'll probably have to mull it over a bit more. You make a good point. It's sort of weird because, before, I used to sort of be more on the side of the Republicans, I think, before September 11th, when they all went crazy. And
wars. Just don't even get me started on their obsession with wars. Anyway, go ahead. But
right. But that's a big problem. War is the most evil thing the government does and can commit, right? And if there's one thing where I could say government should stop, it's war. And I'll tolerate any other abuse as long as if it ends wars.
I guess this comes from me being an objectivist. I'm upset about war, first of all, because it kills people, and I don't really like borders. The fact that there are some imaginary borders in, these random imaginary borders that don't exist, that bothers me. I don't think that the world should have borders. Countries just don't. I get that there should be divides for some reason, but I haven't come up with what reason that is. So, I think borders are stupid, And there's no logical reason to separate by countries unless you have government. That's the only reason to separate by borders. I mean, but if you have no government, then, I mean, I could see polycentric governments, but you don't really need borders for that. There's just cities. I'm more for polycentric government than I am. I think that many cities are going to want small governments to deal with things. And I think that's just fine. I mean, local government is perfectly acceptable as long as everyone agrees on it. It's voluntary.
But when it's not government at that point.
No, it's really not. I mean, you can call it government if it makes you happy. So anyway, if it pleases you to call it government, go for it. But anyway, but it's really, you know, the thing is that war is not as high on my agenda because of the fact that I'm selfish. I mean, the true nature of it is it upsets me economically. It bothers me that there are people dying because, you know, I have a heart. And, you know, because I just don't think it's genuinely good for anyone. It negatively affects me when people die. And I think that it negatively affects our country when we're at war. Economically, it totally screws us. But the thing is that I would rather focus on getting us economically free. And, you know, just, I think that the left has just become just as obsessed with war anyway. I mean, they love war.
Oh no, I don't even like calling it the left and right. To me, they're one party. I don't even know the difference. I mean, the difference is rhetoric. It's advertising. They, you know, we're against war depending on who's in office. When Bush was in office, war was evil. When Obama's in office now, it's, you know, cool and, you know, freedom loving. I mean, yeah, I really don't see the left. I mean, the only thing they seem to really support is the right to an abortion. Every other thing you can violate and take away.
They're becoming communists. There's not. I mean, the Republicans are starting, at least in New Hampshire. I don't know if this is happening everywhere, but in New Hampshire, the thing that we're seeing is that the left, the Democrats, are becoming communists, and the Republicans are becoming the Libertarian Party. I mean, they're literally, most of the Republicans out here are libertarians. They're just using the Republican Party as a front. We don't even have a real Libertarian Party out here. Like,
well,
there's no
New Hampshire, but that's certainly not in most states, right? I mean, you could tell by how they treated Ron Paul and Gary Johnson during the recent presidential primaries, how they feel about libertarians. I mean, the left treated Ron Paul with more respect than the Republicans did.
What did you think of Gary Johnson? I've been finding more information about him that I don't think he was such a good guy.
Right. Well, I don't know much about him. He's no Ron Paul.
No.
That's for sure. Ron Paul is way more, you know, philosophically attuned. He's way more uncompromising. He's way, you know, knows how to get people to like him more. I mean, I'm an anarchist, but I love Ron Paul, you know. And probably an anarchist because of him to a certain extent. I mean, I don't know. I'm becoming more anarchistic every day. You know, I mean, if something's made me an anarchist, it's hearing arguments from statists and they're being so idiotic that I just come to the conclusion the opposite side must be right because what they're saying is just doesn't completely contradictory and incoherent. But I don't really know much about Gary Johnson. I do know that he had power because he was the mayor of New Mexico to pardon people with victimless crimes in his state, and he didn't do that. So I don't know if he would have done that as president.
Oh, see, right there, being friends with Derek J. and having him be such a positive part of my life, I don't even think I could like it. It really wouldn't matter what he did. I don't think he could regain any ground with me personally. Gary Johnson, if he didn't pardon victimless crime, innocent victims of the state, that would, yeah, no, I couldn't forgive him for that.
Right.
Jury, jury's no longer out for me. I don't like him. If he didn't have the decency to stand up for those who have done absolutely nothing wrong and have never hurt anybody, I mean, that's Derek J. right there. And Derek J. is one of my dear friends. You don't stand up for my friends, you're no friend of mine. Right. And, I don't vote for people who I don't think I could be friends with.
Right. Well,
hence why I haven't gone to the polls.
Right. Well, I tried to vote at all, but sorry, what?
There's a lot of people out there that'll tell you I really regret voting. I never have to say that. I have never voted. Not once.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. I have in my life, but I don't do it anymore. I'm sort of.
See, you have to regret it.
I have to. Yeah. I do have to regret it. But well, I mean, one of the not really, because my vote didn't do anything. It's not like it's not like my vote caused anyone to be in charge. I mean, I wasted my time.
You wasted your time. Like, you wasted time.
I wasted maybe half an hour. I mean, the voting place is very close to me, but
a whole half an hour of life? That sucks.
Well, wake up earlier tomorrow morning. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, this is one of the bad things about government is, people call these people the representatives, although if they were, you'd take personal responsibility for what they do. And because one vote is worth nothing, no one can feel like, I voted for that guy and he's blowing up innocent people. Like, how many people who voted for, let's say, a guy and they find out he's doing bad things, how many of them feel any guilt? Probably none, because they're like, well, if I didn't vote, the other guy would have been worse, so they can delude themselves that way. Or they can say, well, my vote doesn't matter anyway, because no one's won or lost by one vote, so it's not like my vote caused this guy to be in power.
Have you seen the thing that's been going through Facebook lately? There's a little ad going through Facebook that asks, do you regret not voting for Romney because this percentage of people do? And it's either that they're going to rerun Romney, which I hope to goodness for their sake they don't, and because it's a waste of time. You really only get one shot at being president. After that, just give up.
I mean, people have run more than once and have won, right? Nixon run more than once.
I don't think nowadays people have the attention span for people who run more than once. I think they're disinterested with anybody that runs twice who's like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. Not interested. Not interesting. Doesn't do anything for me. You'd have to do something seriously awesome for people to care about you after they've already had one whole election season with you. They're just, they're boring after that. Ron Paul was interesting because with him, he carried the chaos of this mob of people that would hold signs and were basically considered crazy people. He was the leader of the crazy people. And Vermin Supreme can run a million times and never get boring. But, there's very few politicians that are that electrifying that, they could really honestly waste their time running again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't mind crazy people calling me crazy. I take that as a compliment. It means I'm sane.
Yes.
Right. Yes. If crazy people call me normal, that's how you know you're fucked up, right? You don't want the approval of crazy people.
No, we were just saying that this morning. Jordan and Josie and I went out to breakfast this morning, and I was like, I don't remember who it was that said it, but somebody was like, "We're weird," and that's what's awesome. And I was like, I said, that is the best compliment I could hear from you guys, because if you all thought I was normal, I would assume that that meant I was boring. And I don't want to be boring. I mean, can you imagine having to be boring for a whole lifetime? That would suck.
Why? You think once you're boring, that's it? You can never become interesting?
No. You can become interesting, but can you imagine spending an entire lifetime being boring and then realizing on your deathbed, like, people are like, it was wonderful because you were just so normal.
Well, how do you know if you're boring, right? I mean, but how do you know if you're boring? People are self-deluded, right? Like 85% of people think they're above average, they say, which boggles my mind. Is there really 15% of people who think they're below average? I mean, how many people out there go around feeling, I'm boring, I suck, I don't know why I haven't killed myself yet? I mean, I don't really understand.
It would really suck.
Yeah, it would suck to be one of those. Because if you're
I'm
boring,
so glad I wake up every day and like myself. Like, I don't really know.
if you're boring, I don't think you know you're boring. And no one's going to tell you you're boring. How many people say to you, you're boring? It's like if you ask someone, do you like me? How many people are going to say no? Right?
I had a boyfriend once tell me I was boring.
Did you say, then, why are you going out with me if I'm boring?
Well, the thing is that I didn't really get time to ask him that, because he only got to tell me that once because he was no longer my boyfriend after that.
You dumped him.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. You should probably find somebody that's not boring to you, because I don't think anybody else finds me boring. And
why would I mean, the fact that you would date someone who you consider boring, how interesting could you be? Like, why? If you're interesting, why would you waste your time going out with someone who's boring?
I think that was his reasoning behind it. He was like, well, I'm not that great to begin with, so I don't really expect my partner to be that great. And I'm like,
certain things you just keep to yourself. I don't tell anyone.
Understand. I don't date men with filters. It just doesn't work for me.
You and I will get along then, because I have no filter. Everyone I think has a filter to some degree. My filter is like very weak, you know. But why?
That's the thing that I like people. I'm drawn to people who are smarter than me. So I obviously date people that are smarter than me, and so if they're socially savvy on top of it, I just feel totally inferior, you know, because they're already smarter than me. And then, you know, on top of it, it's like they're just a social butterfly. And not that I've met many people that are both, but the thing is that I like to be more socially savvy than my partner, so they normally don't have filters. And so I like these guys who are just really very blunt and honest, and most people find them extremely offensive, and I have to apologize for their behavior a lot. But, you know, that's the thing, is that I look like a darn saint the entire time I spend time with them, because I'm like this really sweet, awesome, nice person, because I didn't say what they just said.
So you're attracted to people who make you feel better because, hey, at least I'm not that person. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just have a very bold personality. I mean, I don't know if you picked this up, but I'm just kind of very, you know, harebrained, and, you know, I just kind of do whatever and say whatever.
Right.
And so when there are people in my life that are more flamboyant and like totally honest, like Josie. I love being around Josie because you never know what Josie's gonna say, and I just love that about her, because she's just so boisterous and awesome, and I like admire that so much. But also, it's total bonus because everybody's like, Lauren is so nice and she's so quiet. when I'm around Josie, people are like, Lauren's just so quiet and reserved. And I'm like, you clearly don't know me because I am not reserved at all. That's the last word I would use to describe myself. But Josie is just so, like, up there that you know, I seem like this angelic, sweet, quiet, shy individual. And
I would not describe you that way.
She's my favorite. I think she's my favorite female of this movement. She's just a total badass. But you know, she just makes me seem so mild.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't describe you that way, but I mean, I think one of the benefits as a person who pretty much does offend everyone, and I sort of enjoy doing it. I'll be honest. And, you know, even though I piss people off, like, people do come to me and say, you know, I need an honest opinion, and I know you'll give it. So, you know, even though I might, you know, isolate people, I know. Like, even I just remember I was on, like, a first date, and a woman said to me, you seem very honest. Can I ask you, like, a question that was honest? And I did give her an honest answer, which I don't think she liked. But, you know, I don't think you should bullshit with people. And who wants that anyway? I don't want to walk on eggshells. I'm just going to say, you know, what's on my mind, and if you don't like it, you know, fine, people are replaceable.
I mean, I'm really sweet, and I'm kind, and I'm nice to people about things. I try and put things in the best way I can. But, you know, I realized two things. First of all, that even though I'm trying to say it nicely, I'm still going to be honest. And sometimes trying to be nice about it just has to end somewhere. And there's a point where I'm just going to, you know, you're not getting what I'm trying to say, and I'm just going to be very blunt about this. And I think that, you know, I am of the opinion that there are no bad characteristics, that every personality trait has two sides to every coin. There is a positive and a negative to every personality trait. And I think bluntness is definitely one of the top things that fit that description. I do not think that there is a true positive or negative quality, and I think bluntness illustrates that very well, because those people you can always count on to tell you the complete truth, and that is awesome. But at the same time, you can always count on those people to tell you the complete truth. That is awful.
Yeah. So what is a positive characteristic of someone who's two-faced?
Two-faced?
Yeah.
They're never boring.
All right. How about someone who's two-faced and boring?
That's not possible.
It's not?
Two-faced people keep you on your toes.
I guess.
Those Geminis, they'll keep you on your toes.
All right. I don't believe in astrology and all that bullshit, but
neither do I. But you know,
I know you're an objectivist.
Yeah.
That's very unobjective. It's total.
It was a joke. It's not Gemini the sign. Gemini the personality trait. The Gemini means two-faced.
All right. I have to learn more of my Latin. Right. It's Latin, Italian. I don't know. Latin, Italian. Well, some language other than English. It's not French. I know that.
I don't know.
I don't know. Esperanto.
Fragile. Must be Italian.
Passive aggressiveness. What are some positive characteristics of that?
Oh. I mean, aggressiveness can be used to protect yourself, or aggressiveness can be used to hurt people. So there's that.
The passive aggressiveness.
Passive-aggressive people are just plain scary. But no, they're scary, but passive-aggressive people also You don't have to deal with them getting actually aggressive. And you can kind of do your own thing with passive-aggressive people. You just can kind of ignore them. I had very passive-aggressive roommates. They didn't like that I would sing too early in the morning. And
How early are we talking about?
I don't know, like 9 a.m.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 6.
No. And so I'd start singing about 9 a.m. and start practicing before class. And so they hated that. And so, you know, they do these passive-aggressive things to try and, you know, show me that they didn't like it. And, you know, I just basically ignored it and nothing happened because they're just passive-aggressive.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah. It is, and it's hard to know what I. And I'm not very good at picking up the social cues of passive aggressiveness. You know, so I can't even tell. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, yeah, it's been about an hour, so I guess we'll end it. It was great having you on.
Yeah, it was great to be on. I am definitely tired. It is definitely bedtime for Objectivist Girl. It is objectively bedtime.
All right, talk to you later.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. And guys, check me out at Objectivist Girl on Facebook.